All right. Well, very excited for this session we have for you today, how AI SDR agents are transforming pipeline generation. Got a couple awesome panelists here. And just to set the stage, I mean, from outbound prospecting to booking inbound demos, AI SDR agents are now opening up a whole new level of pipeline generation for go-to-market teams. We've got two industry-leading organizations and their marketing leaders here who are going to talk about how AI agents work, where customers are seeing success, where they're specifically seeing success in their go-to-market motions, and what they predict for agentic pipeline generation in 2025 and beyond. Very excited to have with us Saima Rashid. She's the SVP of Marketing at 6sense. And of course, Maura Rivera, the Chief Marketing Officer at Qualified. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So let's get right into it. Both of your companies have developed AI agents that serve different parts of the customer journey, right? Like an inbound website conversion, outbound prospecting. I'd love to have each of you share some examples of your most successful use cases, how you're generating pipeline impact for your organization. And Maura, maybe we start with you.
Yeah, so at Qualified, we're really focused on the inbound funnel. So what that means is how can marketers use an AI SDR agent to engage with all of your inbound buyers and do it autonomously and at scale? Our AI SDR, her name's Piper because she generates pipeline. And the cool thing about her is she's connected to all of your go-to-market systems, including systems like 6sense, who's a fantastic partner. So when an inbound buyer arrives, she knows everything about them, about their lead, about their account, and she can really surface these really personalized experiences. She can engage with folks on the website when they're ready to buy, surface offers, book meetings. But if somebody comes to your website, another great use case would be maybe they fill out a form, maybe they're not ready to talk in real time. And AI SDR can also follow up with those folks and get them back into the funnel. So really focused on that inbound marketing use case and how do we unlock more personalization and really scale for how we generate pipeline from an inbound perspective.
Saima, how about you?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in here. We use agents for a variety of use cases. Listen, when you think of 6sense, you obviously know we apply an account-based approach, but we do need to actually do outreach to individuals. And BDR teams are wonderful. I have a fantastic BDR team, but AI agents have been really critical for us being able to augment what they're doing, whether it's on the outbound prospecting of a high intent account that we really want to break into, that we want to multi-thread early and often as soon as we start to see those signals. That's a huge use case for us, whether it's follow-up to events or webinars that we're hosting, right? Or whether it's even doing proactive outreach to close lost opportunities from 6 months ago. The agents have helped us scale our BDRs in a way that we haven't been able to do in the past, right? At this point, 20% of our net new pipeline as a company is being generated autonomously through using agents across a variety of use cases. And it hasn't made us reduce our BDR team. In fact, quite the opposite. We've promoted more BDRs than ever because guess what? They're on the phone selling as opposed to doing some of the repeatable tasks that an agent is just so perfectly suited to take on.
20% of pipeline coming from agentic. I just want to double click on that. That's impressive. I did want to follow up and just ask, what are some other metrics that maybe 6sense and maybe some of your clients are using to measure the impact of AI SDRs? And I'm curious also, just to follow up to that, are there any surprising stories for the way that your customers have started to use and implement and integrate these tools into their go-to-market motions?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a new world out there. And leaders know they need to harness the power of AI, but there's always this question of how we do it. And so some of the use cases that I mentioned, right? Automating outbound, improving our inbound motion, awakening the dead opportunities and event invitations and follow-up, those have been critical. And the way we've been measuring that is really on the qualified pipeline being generated. And that's what we encourage our customers to do. So I already mentioned, of course, that we're generating 20% of our net new pipeline using agents. But I have customers like Reltio, for example, where they have their same BDR team, same headcount, generating 63% more pipeline as a company. We have another customer that likens one of our agents to essentially being like having 5 more SDRs working simultaneously, right? So this is a scale play. And we know that it is getting harder and harder to create and qualified pipeline, right? I think it's taking more touches, more people on a specific deal. And so again, what a perfect way to scale some of that outreach to get in front of more people in an intelligent, automated, and personalized way. I think both Qualified and Sixth Sense, we put a lot of emphasis on the personalization. Yes, there is automation with AI, but we're not here to speed up spam. We really want to be providing a rich experience to prospects, and the agents have been crucial for us to doing that. I also mentioned we've just been promoting more BDRs now to AEs because they are doing the hard job of selling as opposed to writing emails. And so it's been fun to see. I think that was probably a surprising use case for us, because if you're on LinkedIn, you hear that AI is coming for everyone's jobs, but the human to human part of the selling process and the prospecting process doesn't go away. Let's get our humans and our wonderful teammates doing that part, and let's automate the things that AI does so well.
Well, AI is taking away the jobs we didn't want anyway, right? I think about the tedious work that goes into being a BDR that you don't have to do, and the impact that can have on retention of your best employees and your best sales reps, and even recruiting as a competitive advantage to be able to say you're going to do the best parts of your job and make money and be successful and have growth opportunities there. More, I wanted to ask you a similar question. Just, Piper obviously is handling website visitors and follow-ups. Curious what kind of metrics you're targeting there, what kind of metrics your customers are seeing, and then obviously any surprises, so some pleasant surprises you're seeing from customers as well.
Yeah, I mean, we like to hold our AI SDR agent accountable just like we would a sales rep. I think if you had an agent who's, to Sima's point, sending all the emails in the world or having all the conversations in the world, but none of it converts, what's the point? You just have tech that you've invested in that's not actually making an impact on the business. So we hold our AI SDR agent accountable just like we would a sales rep. We actually have Piper on our leaderboard. We do a pipeline council every Friday. We look at how all of our human reps are doing, and we look at how our AI agents are doing. We're using conversational email and Sixth Sense to do some outbounding. We're using Piper, obviously, for our inbound motion. We're looking at quality pipeline, and we're looking at meetings booked. Those are the two most relevant metrics for us to track. One interesting thing is with humans, we would also look at IRT for inbound leads, but that's no longer relevant because AI SDRs can get to them instantly. That's the promise of really leveraging an agent within your funnel. So really holding them accountable on the leaderboard. In terms of customers, I think it's interesting because, and one thing as we talk about kind of removing people and what the evolution of the team looks like, I think in 2024, folks were a little scared of AI SDR agents. How are they going to take over my job? How is it going to transform the workplace? And here we are in 2025, and they're here and they're making an impact. And I think it's going to change companies and organizations for the better. And to your point, I think it's going to really allow folks to move on to other higher value opportunities, or take those funds that you're saving on headcount if somebody, instead of backfilling them and redeploying them into the business. It's been super exciting at Qualified. I mean, we've had hundreds of customers. Sixth Sense is a customer. You guys have Revi, your version of the AI SDR on your site. Matt, you guys are a customer. So we've had hundreds of companies and hire Piper, and they're really looking at improved pipeline and improved efficiency. So companies like Vanilla, who generated $5 million in pipeline with their AI SDR in the first 90 days. We have companies like Next Gen Healthcare. They used to have all of these missed chats when they were relying on humans. They used to have 1,400 missed chats a year. Now they have 0. We have companies like Greenhouse, and they've seen a 2x increase in meetings booked. So it's been cool because I think last year we were kind of in the trialing phase, and this year we're starting to see so many real results from all of these companies. And not only is it going to generate more pipeline for them, but it's transforming really how their whole team is structured and how we're kind of relying on humans and letting agents do more of the heavy lifting. So I think it's an exciting time.
It's super exciting. I see a lot of marketing leaders creating what essentially is an accountability chart with jobs to be done across the different go-to-market motions, and just very clearly seeing how many different jobs can be done by an AI SDR now, and how many are likely to going to be done moving forward, including things that they hadn't been able to do because a human couldn't scale and do it efficiently. It's the more people dig into that, the more excited I think they get. Let's talk about implementing these, because these are new motions. There's some change management sometimes associated with bringing on new people, having robots interact with humans. Simon, we'll start with you. Like, what are some of the biggest implementation challenges that your customers have seen when they deploy these tools? And then out of that, what are some best practices that have emerged that can help others sort of implement more smoothly moving forward?
Yeah, I think we've learned a thing or two. We're rolling out our agents, not just internally, but across hundreds of customers. And I would say the biggest thing is getting over what Maura just mentioned, there's a little bit of hesitation, right, to have AI do the follow-up to your best inbound demo requests or your highest intent accounts, right? There's a little bit of a hesitation. And so we always recommend, let's start small, let's start with a use case, and let's iterate and let's prove it out. And that is typically enough, right? The second you start to see response to leads, happening always within SLA, the second you start to see your conversion rates be on par or in some cases higher than what you're getting with your BDR team, very quickly, I think all of those sort of hesitations fall down and people are like, all right, I need to, they come up with additional use cases that they immediately want to try. And so we always recommend starting with one and then iterating accordingly. And to your point, Matt, there is change management in place, right? Because now you've got agents running a lot of this outreach. But the BDRs need to still be in the loop. They still need to be informed and aware of what emails have been sent out, when, what have the responses been. So there's enablement that needs to happen across your internal teams. There is always a human in the loop. And so you want to make sure that the right person is in there to keep an eye on things or to reply if something does require a human review. So I would say the change management, making sure that the visibility exists for all the parties, and then making sure that the customer is taking advantage of getting a really strong, robust use case up and out so that we can quickly go in, measure impact, and then scale accordingly.
Yeah. More, I think same question for you. I mean, as you mentioned, like, we're happy qualified customers. I remember the implementation initially, when you've got a sales rep, you want to make sure that they are representing your brand correctly. For us, it's my name on the wall. So I need a robot to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So confidence in the training and the engagement, it was part of our onboarding that actually went very smoothly. But I'm curious for you, what are some challenges in that change management side you see with qualified new customers?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Matt. As marketers, our brand is paramount. We need to make sure that it is well represented the second somebody interacts with an email or on your website. And there is a lot of fear as marketers. Can I trust it? Will it do a good job? I think one thing that sometimes we talk about is there's also that same fear with human SDRs when they first start. They have to get onboarded. You have to make sure they're up to speed with your messaging. So when it comes to an AI SDR, our approach is onboard it, her, him, just like you would a human SDR. Make sure that they have all of your messaging, all of your materials. They're really prepared with how to talk about your company. You can also provide guardrails so hey, never talk about pricing or never answer any questions about XYZ. So you kind of go through that onboarding at the beginning, and then we talk about confidence threshold. So you don't want to set an AI SDR live until you have, let's say, like north of 90% confidence that they're doing the right thing and they're representing your brand well. And we're very similar to Sima. I think use cases are key. That is how we all operate. I think right now there is this flurry to want to invest in technology, and then you have it and you don't know where to start. So if you can identify an area of the business, like I have too much website traffic, I can't interact with everybody, or I have these event leads that need to be followed up with, those are a great place to start. We see a lot of our customers do a crawl, walk, run. So what that means is crawl will be, maybe we have our AI SDR agent like on the website work nighttime and weekends, or lower quality leads who are not sticking humans on anyways. And then walk would be really having that AI SDR agent work the front line. So they're doing all the heavy lifting, they're doing the greeting, they're doing the initial handoff, and then they're handing off to a human rep if there's a target account who's on the site and wants to talk to somebody. And then we're actually seeing a lot of our companies really run, which means the AI SDR agent is flying pretty much solo. There will still be human handoff if it's appropriate and human in the loop feedback. But we have some customers who their goal is to eventually not have an inbound SDR team and really redeploy those resources for prospecting or for other higher value things, or promote them to account executives. And that's really the goal. At Qualified, we used to have 6 inbound SDRs. Now we have Piper. And then we have our other reps who are outbound, and they're ready to pick things up if they need to be. But it's all about getting people comfortable with that journey. You can't expect people to go right to the run phase. It will be chaotic and it won't work. So it's identifying those use cases, building that confidence in the agent that they're doing a great job, and then kind of guiding them on that journey to crawl, walk, run.
The analogy with how you train a human rep, I think, is really good, right? To say, I can't just give you a playbook and run out there. There's some training, there's some coaching, there's adjustments along the way as you're reviewing the behavior. And then you got to retrain, right? Like as your business changes, as your market changes, as language changes, as the market and your customers and competitors mature, making sure that your tool is up to speed, just like you would with a human sales team. And the benefit is until we have robots selling to robots, you're doing it for the humans. Just make sure that you're adopting that into the agents as well, and you'll be far more successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say one thing you touched on that we haven't talked about a lot, but is like we've been talking about how this makes teams more efficient and marketing teams more efficient with how they're generating pipeline. But we haven't talked about like the great buying experience that it provides for folks to get instant answers to their questions, and how it's just going to streamline like how B2B software and other companies, how everything's purchased, because that's a pretty antiquated and not great experience for buyers also.
No forms, right, Simon? I mean, you don't have to like put barriers in front of people, and you can meet them where they are and get them that information in real time, especially if they're there, they're motivated, they want to dig in further. Let's move on a little bit. I want to, Simon, I mean, 6sense has kind of become synonymous with ABM, account-based marketing, account-based motions in the B2B space. How are your customers integrating AI email capabilities into their broader account-based marketing efforts?
Yeah, it's a good question because at the end of the day, what we want to do at 6sense is help our customers find and connect with the right buyers, right? Let's make it easy for them to close deals and to grow with their revenue. And agents fit right into it, right? Our platform analyzes 1 trillion signals a day, really helping customers prioritize the right accounts, flag them to your sellers or your agents in this case. And marketers want to be able to harness that data to craft a really rich and personalized experience for their prospects. Prospects, let's be honest, are demanding that now, right? They demand a rich experience. They demand a frictionless journey. No spams, no forms, no cold calls. We kind of wrote the book on it. And so the way that our customers are using this is in terms of, the broader promise of ABM is taking something like our intelligent workflows canvas, which allows you to take those account-based scores, bridge them through to a contact, enrich your contacts, then drive actual outreach to them at the right time. And so the singular canvas, that bridging between accounts and contacts, and also just optimizing the rest of your tech stack, whether you want to point those prospects through to display, through to your sales engagement platform, through to your marketing automation, or tie them directly into an AI email agent. We want you to be able to do all of that and more, right? I think, Matt, I heard this stat from you, but Gartner flagged that orchestrating across this complex journey is the top priority for CMOs, right? There's such high collaboration drag across your tech stack, across all of your teams. And so the more we can make it easier for our customers to do that, both within the 6sense platform as well as with connecting to partners and other tech stack that they've invested in, that's really what we want to be doing.
I love that answer because I mean, you know how excited I get when we start talking about collaboration drag and sort of helping companies sort of address that. But I think when you fix it when you have really detailed workflows, right? And when you think about those jobs to be done and you deploy agents in the email, on the website, those agents can be more consistent in terms of how they operate, and it's going to streamline more of that workflow to make the results you want happen more consistently, but also happen more quickly. Piper, in a similar what Simon was talking about with sort of email agents, I mean, you can handle thousands of website conversations at once. How are marketing teams using that increased capability to scale pipeline generation beyond what they previously knew or thought was possible?
Yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time looking at the traditional funnel. Simon talked about marketing automation platforms, and we were very reliant on human capacity. We were doing all of these things from a marketing perspective. We were doing ad campaigns and everything that Simon's talking about. And then we relied on a finite amount of human resources to work those leads. We could only work the leads that were really deemed like MQLs. And then we got pipeline on the other side. And like Matt and Simon, this is a process you guys have been doing forever, right, as marketers? And then what we're talking about now is the agentic marketing funnel. So what if you could have an agent to work all of the leads autonomously at scale? That's the dream. And we've always been promised like hyper personalization, but we've always had a hard time doing it until now. So it's exciting.
There's so much we can do here. I mean, because we got a little bit of time, I wanted to go into a couple other areas that I think these tools can really help folks. Look, can we talk a little about CS and customer success? I think we talked so much about sort of net new acquisition, but the tool sets we're talking about here can work just as well on customer success, account management. Simon, do you have some use cases and some examples of where that can be applied elsewhere in the organization?
Yeah. So, I mean, CS and customer support is a great example, right? We have our email agents. We have customers that essentially train the email agent based on upcoming product releases, right? It's got all the details on what the product release is, how to use it, how to take advantage of it, what you might need to configure within your own systems. And so anytime a question comes in, the email agent is ready and proactively responding to it, right? So there's that piece. I mentioned, event follow-up, but we have another customer that went to this big industry event and had 7,000 booth scans. No amount of BDRs was going to get through that, right? But again, they pointed the outbound agent and were able to generate significant qualified pipeline just by the sheer scale of having personalized outreach happen in a timely fashion, right? Because 3 weeks after an event, let's be honest, everyone's moved on. And so whether it's the CS use case, whether it's the customer support use case, whether it's, providing some sort of personalization in terms of answering questions that somebody might have. Even our demo request, believe it or not, it's a forum, but the amount of, detailed responses we'll get when somebody reaches out for a demo, like it's fantastic for the agent to be able to read that and then respond intelligently before a BDR actually needs to get involved. So it's just, to Maura's point, providing a richer experience to the prospect.
Well, and because you know something about that person, whether you're engaging in an email or whether they've come to the website, we even with our sort of qualified agent, like we've trained it to know who's a top prospect, who's an existing customer, who's a partner. So you can engage in a different way and more. I mean, just as we dig in, like the possibilities for using these in different segments of your universe, of your ecosystem is pretty vast.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's key, and Simon kind of talked about this earlier with like orchestration across agents, is you need to make sure that your agent is connected to all of your go-to-market systems so it knows everything about your business. This is not just onboarding an agent who's going to do one-to-many kind of outreach. So if you can connect with your CRM, with your ABM platform, with your sales engagement platform, if you can know everything that's happening on your website, the idea is that this agent becomes a super agent. They know everything about your business. They know everything about your customers and your prospects. They know exactly how you segment them, and they know exactly how to treat them. On top of that, they also know all of their engagement with your advertising campaigns and with your website. So they can craft these really, really personalized experiences. When it comes to segmentation, there are so many great use cases. You can tell an AI agent, hey, these are all the folks that are target accounts. Make sure that you're on a mission to book meetings with them with the right account rep. Another cool kind of segmentation use case we're seeing is you can load the agent up with like your competitive segment. So these are all of the accounts that we're trying to rip away from our competitor. Make sure to surface relevant, webinars or landing pages or reports that showcase why we're the number one player in this space. To your point about customers, you can also have segmentation for customers and make sure that your AI SDR agent is trained not to push a meeting on them because they're already part of your customer base, but to serve them up with relevant events or content or things or new product releases that they might be interested in that help them become a little bit stickier. Or if you identify an upsell opportunity for that customer, how do you make sure to take them on that journey and showcase what's new there? So it's not just about like setting these AI agents free. It's about making sure they're onboarded with your business, they're connected to your go-to-market systems, and they will treat these different segments of buyers just like you would want your best sales reps to treat them. And those experiences will all look very different. And then the scale piece that you guys are talking about, it's not just focused one at a time at each target account. You can go after all target accounts at once. And that was never possible before when you were reliant on a limited amount of humans. So it's unlocking personalization. It's unlocking really like precise targeted engagements. And it's making sure that you can get the right folks into your funnel, not just anyone into your funnel. It's like your best SDR or BDR on steroids, and then they're going out and getting everybody. So I think that segmentation and connection to your business applications is key, or else they won't be effective.
Yeah. Let's get into predictions a little bit, which I think, especially in this case and in this segment, is really hard. Like, I mean, the AI is starting to do things that we really hadn't been thinking about before. So I'm going to ask you anyway. Like over the, for the rest of 2025, as we look into next year, I know you're both thinking about like what can the AI do, what's in product roadmap. What do you think the world of agentic marketing and pipeline generation is going to look like if we're having this conversation in this summit? Even just 12 months from now, which isn't that long, but in AI time, that's a lot of iterations. So Simon, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me last year that we would be where we are with our agents and generating 20% of our pipeline autonomously, I would have laughed at you, Matt. So I think, we can predict, but I think there's a lot in store for us that we're probably not sure of. I do think the most meaningful change that will happen is this sort of initial hesitation hopefully will dissipate. I think with so many success stories coming out of, just even what Maura and I have spoken about, we're seeing it already. Marketing leaders in particular seem to be carrying the gauntlet within the suite of incorporating AI. And I think that sort of will continue to happen, and even more so with even more enthusiasm. So I hope, folks will lean in more. I think new roles will emerge as well within organizations. Right now, marketing operations and my team are the ones really managing our agentic experiences and SDRs in concert with the growth marketing orgs. I think there might even be potential roles that this is now, I don't even want to give it a title, but someone who's really responsible for orchestrating across this journey. Because, again, it is not just about doing the outreach in a meaningful and timely fashion. It is about doing the right kind of outreach. And so we need the entire marketing team to be on board with that, whether it's that very top of funnel activity that we're trying to drive through to when is the right time to actually have the agent reach out, through to the experiences that are happening throughout both the human interactions and the agentic, right? We really want to be providing a rich, comprehensive experience, and that's going to take alignment within the orgs. And great marketing orgs are aligned already, but I think the introduction of agents and just the scale will require specialized roles to really orchestrate.
More as you wrap up here, anything I want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we actually have created 2 new roles on our team to oversee AI agents, Sima. So your prediction, you have a crystal ball, because I think that's starting to happen.
Yeah.
We have 2 folks, one on the marketing team, one on the sales side, who are GTM AI managers. And what that means is they manage the AI agents. You cannot just hire agents onto the team, set them loose, and expect it all to go well. So while you might backfill some roles with AI agents as folks get promoted or folks move on to other endeavors, that's a place to start. But then you're also going to create these new roles, as you said, Sima, who they're overseeing the agents. What I'm interested to see, if we look back, 2023 was the year of Copilot, 2024 was Autopilot, 2025 is clearly agents and agentic marketing. I'm interested to see what org charts look like in 2026, because I think that a lot of marketing teams are going to have agents who are sitting on their org charts doing the full job scope of a human and doing it at scale. And I think you're absolutely right, Sima, that marketers are usually the most bullish and forward thinking. But I think other organizations are going to have to adopt also. I just saw the Shopify CEO send out a note that this is a mandate that everybody's embracing this technology, that they have use cases in mind. So you can no longer really sit idle and expect a strategy to be brought to you. You need to be thinking about not only the AI technology you're bringing on, but the agents you're bringing on who are doing a lot of the work that doesn't necessarily need to be done by a human. So I'm excited to see just the transformation of the workplace, the transformation of marketing teams. And I think it's going to make us all more powerful as marketing leaders, because all of a sudden we have more capacity on our team. We have more access on our team. So it's going to totally transform, I think, how we do things. I think we'll look back at 2015, 2020 and be like, oh, how did we ever do things that way? That wasn't efficient. And this is just going to unlock a whole new way.
Yeah.
Love it. Simon, Maura, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your insights, and enjoy the rest of the summit, everybody.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you.